Welcome everyone to imaginativevisions.com into the panels. Justin here, back with a new review. Sorry for the wait, and not that I'm not physically here on camera. I am battling a cold, if you can hear it from my voice. But today I want to talk about Star Wars Jar Jar #1, and I'm going to give you the brief synopsis and talk a little bit about the story. And it reads such as this: Jar Jar faces the consequences of giving emergency powers to Chancellor Palpatine. What pivotal role does Jar Jar play in the formation of the Rebel Alliance? All right, so let's talk about this, folks, because one thing I really loved, I will have to say, is that I'm very surprised about is that this really, for me, I've never really been a fan of Jar Jar Binks. So I'm not a Jar Jar hater. I just never really gelled with the character. But I will have to admit, after seeing a lot of people's theories online and seeing a lot of turnarounds in the Star Wars community in terms of Jar Jar, a lot of people have been kind of craving a more serious take or more of a dramatic take, mature take on Jar Jar. And Jar Jar Binks issue #1, I'll have to say, it does approach the subject matter of that choice of giving Palpatine emergency powers very, very well. Rather than having Jar Jar be the slapstick character that we're also used to seeing, this is the Jar Jar that has to deal with accountability and deal with that fallout of those emergency powers and that guilt that follow with it. This is not a joke comic. It's actually a corrective lens, kind of a redemption of the Jar Jar Banks character, and this being co-written by the actor who portrays Jar Jar Ahmed best, who also plays another character which I'll get into later on. I thought it worked very well. And the narrative places in Jar Jar Binks issue #1 is more of a reflective role, especially pairing him with another character that Ahmed best plays in the Star Wars universe, Kelleran. And one thing I will have to say in terms of writing, there is this little subdued little fourth wall break that if you know, you know. There's a line in there that says I don't want to spoil it. A certain character says to Jar Jar, "I see a lot of Kelleran in you," and for me, just reading that line, I just laughed because I was just like, I get I kind of understand the little folk well, obviously, because Ahmed Best plays both characters. Now, in terms of the actual story, I'm not going to go into spoiler territory here, but I will touch a little bit about it. Jar Jar has to go to a particular planet, and the mission is not what it seems. And he eventually meets Kelleran there, where Kelleran is telling him that things that the Emperor, excuse me, Palpatine's not the Emperor yet, Palpatine is doing when you gave him the emergency powers is causing this suffering of these people on this particular planet. And Jar Jar starts to realize that him giving him those powers is starting to affect other people in the galaxy. That the Senate is turning a blind eye to certain sufferings and just in terms of for the greater quote unquote greater good of the galaxy. And one thing I really think lands best about it is that this is not an overcorrect of Jar Jar. Jar Jar is still awkward. His voice, his voice and speech still is there, so you still hear his dialogue. You can still hear his voice when he's talking. Like you still hear the Misa and the Yusa. You still hear all that because that's how Jar Jar talks. So if you're worried that if you're hoping that the dialogue is gonna have Jar Jar just talking normal. No, 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 no. The Usas, the Misas, and high energy Jar Jar is still there, but it's grounded. There are moments in here that I was reading it and I was shocked because Jar Jar is dramatic. Jar Jar is feeling regret. Jar Jar is being serious and being mature. And the one thing I really did like about that is the core theme of this is how democracy falls, not through malice, but just misplaced trust. Jar Jar has this misplaced trust in Palpatine, and you see Jar Jar becoming that avatar of unintended consequences throughout the book. Civilians are caught between the system and there's crossfire, there's death, there's bounty hunters, there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on here. and it's wrapped up all based off misplaced trust and the vote to give Palpatine emergency powers. There's a lot to talk about in here, but I'm not going to spoil it because I want you to read it for yourself. It's a short. It's 20. It's the standard comic book page issues of 28 pages, but this was a really good 28-page read. In terms of the art style, that the art style delivered as well. It does capture Jar Jar's emotion and even his wacky expressive um, facial expressions when he is during action scenes, when he's scared and there's hesitation and discomfort. We get to feel for Jar Jar here. And even with that being said, I'm very curious to see how and where this will go. I hope the series does continue. I don't think this is a one shot. Hope it does continue because I would love to see more of this and to see more of Kelleran as well and how he was integrated and what role did he play between these uh because we all know he saved Grogu, but I want to see what is going to happen with him and Jar Jar in this particular issues coming up. So this is Justin from Imaginative Visions. Let me give you my final score, the shelf score. Let's go to it. I'm going to give Jar Jar Binks number one. I'm going to give it a full shelf. I thought it was excellent. It's a really good read. I think you're going to have fun with this. And if you like what we do here, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and visit imaginativevisions.com. Later days.